So you bought that cool NVMe SSD. It can read and write up to like 3,500 megabits per second. And then you think, yeah, that's the one. And all you need is an enclosure and a cable, and you're hauling big time, moving those huge video files off your computer and onto your new spangled highfalutin whiz-bang super speed hard drive. And all the kids are gonna be so jealous of your speed. And never mind all the ladies who will be impressed with your new hard drive. What? No. Anyway, yeah, so, well, you know, that's not gonna happen because, well, there's a few things that you may not have considered, and to be honest, I'm here to make those mistakes so you don't need to. All right, so sit right there and let's cover what you need to know, and in the end, what you need to get if you really wanna go fast. So I had a reward coming to me from my anniversary at my work, and with that, the reward is a gift card to an electronics company and, well, a shopping I went. So on that site, there were many things that I could get, but what really caught my eye was an NVMe drive. You know, the ones that you can put into your computer, use it as the main hard drive. It doesn't come with any case or any cover or anything like that, right? Yeah, it's kind of like this one. Well, it's actually exactly like this one because this is what I got. Yeah, before you jump on me about the 970, that I could have got the 980 or the 990 Pro, just know this. This was my 3rd anniversary. So they weren't shelling out the really big bucks, right? That comes later, like 15 years later or whatnot. I digress. I was shopping on the site, there was this drive, and then I saw that it can read and write up to 3,500 megabits per second and said to myself, that's like pretty fast. And all the external hard drives that I have now, well, they're only running at best about 1,000 megabits per second. And that's pretty fast in and of itself right there. But this bad boy going 3 times as fast? Man, that's just lights out fast, right? So now that I have the new drive, and I know that there are enclosures for this type of drive because, well, you know, I've done product reviews on other types of drives and enclosures for different SSDs, like this one. This is actually an enclosure with an SSD inside, right? So I've seen enclosures for this type of drive too while I've been out there shopping. Again, I go shopping on Amazon and I run across this little dude right here. And I'm like, that's the one. And if you know anything about me, you know that I like the shiny. And it's inexpensive too, like 35 bucks. Now, while I'm mesmerized with the shiny drive, I fail to comprehend the full details of the specifications of the device in the rest of the About This Item section. And I click purchase. Here we are, foreshadowing. So I have the drive, right? And it's a scorcher. And I'm gonna so rock those CPUs with this lightning fast system that I'm putting together. I just got the shiny, so now all we've gotta do is get Ricky Bobby and Baby Jesus and put them together and it's on like Donkey Kong. Yeah. I digress again. All right, so we got the drive, we got the enclosure, and now we're about to put these two bad boys together and make a powerhouse of a drive, and this is only going to take a few minutes to put together, and then we're gonna have a really rockin' drive. And if you wanna know how I put this together, well then you can go ahead and check out the video right up here where I actually put it together. Yeah. All right guys, so this is all together. So I stick this thing into my computer and I await the mass exodus of data, leaving my computer and slamming into this hard drive with such massive speeds and force that I almost expect the drive to jolt across the desk and possibly unplug itself. So I grab a hold of the drive with such great anticipation. I then go into my computer and I open up my testing program. I'm so ready for the speed test and the results that will soon come that I hold onto the drive as I hit that start button and await that mass flow of numbers. And I see that the numbers are almost identical as my Samsung T7 that I just purchased a few weeks ago. What the heck is going on here? So I spent over 180 bucks just to get this drive, another 35 to get the enclosure. And it runs literally identically the same speed as the external hard drive that I purchased for just above $170. Saying ain't so. Okay, so what's the problem? That's what I'm here to tell you to hold on before you go and do what I did. So now let's get to the nitty-gritty of this. There are 4 main factors that will dictate your speed, or basically even the lack of speed, on your Frankenstein device that you want to put together. Throw up the slide up here, take a look at it. Number 1 of your 4 factors will be the drive. The drives that you usually will see are going to be 3 different types. Number 1 type will be a SATA drive. It's a spinning type drive. These ones are the slowest of them all, but they're also the most affordable. Then your second one is the SSD. They come in different kind of shapes and sizes, but for the most part, they're a square like I'm showing up here. Square-ish rectangle, maybe. Yeah, it's probably better. It's rectangle technically. These guys are really fast compared to the spinning drive. And in fact, you might even say they're wicked fast. And lastly, are your PCIe type drives that look like the rectangle listed above, and those are the NVMe type. These are the most expensive of the three, but they make the wicked fast usually look like a turtle with speeds up to like 32 gigabytes a second and even more. The second item, besides your drives, is the enclosures that you use to house the drives that you have above. All these enclosures are usually regulated by a circuit board that you attach your drive to. Also, the enclosures usually call out the type of connection that is associated with the device. And it is also our third item, so we'll just move right on to that. Your cable connection type. Generally, you'll see a USB-A type, a USB micro type, and then also a USB-C. There's Thunderbolt in the mix, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And then last but not least, your fourth item is going to be related to your connection setup on your device computer. So it's going to be also relatively the same for your cables, which will mean that you usually have associated to your computers a USB-A type, a USB-C type, or the Thunderbolt 3.4, which falls into the USB-C. So now you got all that. You gotta pick a winner. You just have to be just right when you want to get the fastest drive and attach it to your computer. What do I mean? Let's talk about that for a sec, right? You can check out this slide up here. You need to have the best speed hard drive, and in my case, I ended up getting the 970 Evo Plus, as I talked about it, because it can scoot at like 3,500 megabits per second, read and write, basically. Now, don't get complacent here and just go out and get any kind of hard drive enclosure off of Amazon. Remember that foreshadowing bit? Yeah. You have to check on the enclosure's capability and make sure that you have one that can handle the speeds that you're looking for. Right, so take a look at this here. You see that, well, you got a specific type of drive that you want to get. Now you need to get the specific type of enclosure. And again, if you see here on the slide, there are 3 NVMe drives, but there are 3 different NVMe enclosures as well. Well, that's because the enclosures themselves have 3 different speeds in which they can move data. And if you didn't know, the enclosures have a circuit board in them that regulates the data and the speed in which that data travels to and fro from the device. So you got that? Right. Now, moving on. Next, you need to ensure that your cable is not a drag when it comes to the data movement. And here you can see that there are a couple that you can choose from. And by a couple, I really mean at least 8, if not more. And whichever you choose, you'll have to abide by the transfer speeds on the far right of this chart. And as we all know, the dude must abide. And the next stop is your computer. Now, finally, you go with the right drive, the right enclosure, and you got the right cable, and all you need to do now is to go out and check your computer and see what you're working with. Again, have the wrong port utilized or an old computer that's missing the speeds that you want, and you're out of luck. So now let's confuse you some more. Now, take a look at this. This is what you're gonna see a lot of. Now that I have somewhat given you the idea of what to look for on your cables and in your computer, guess what? Many times you won't see anything that will tell you what you're dealing with. Your cables will have some logos, and maybe even more likely, it'll have nothing at all, it'll be totally blank. And so you'll have no idea what your cable's capable of. And then your computer, same thing. You may have almost nothing on there and you won't know what's going on. But it's a bit easier to figure out, even if it's not labeled, because, well, you can go ahead and check on your computer's manual or the manufacturer's website to do some investigation on your part to see what the speeds are. Now, I'm going to put out a disclaimer right here and right now that this is for those that are about to chime in down below and say, hey, Ken, there's more than that you've listed. There's a whole lot more. There's different things here. There's this, that, and the other. And you know what I'm going to tell you? I agree. But what I'm doing here is giving you and anyone out there the average person's perspective on this. And from that, we can build on this. But for now, let's talk about speeds. Looky here. This is the first scenario, and it's actually what I'm going through right now. I have the Evo 970, as I said. It rocks at a blazing 3,500 megabits per second. I have a drive enclosure that I purchased because I like the shiny, and I didn't realize the specs were 1,000 megabits per second. In addition, couple that with a cable that's not above 10 gigabytes a second or 1,000 megabytes per second, and even though my computer has a Thunderbolt connection and it can theoretically run at 4,000 megabits per second, all I can get out of it in this setup will be 1,000 megabytes per second. I am wasting speed capabilities because I'm restricted by both the enclosure and the cable. Scenario 2. Here, it's a bit better, as you can see, but you can also see I still have some speed wasted on my enclosure. It is still slower than what the drive can run at, and the cable's also restricting the speed as well. As you may be aware, either one would restrict your speed, either the cable, the enclosure, or even both. Lastly, here's probably the best option for the Evo 970 drive because you have all the items interacting with the drive rated theoretically higher than the drive and thus should not be a bottleneck for the speed, and you can hopefully run at the drive's maximum capability. Another warning or disclaimer, right? Keep in mind, all of these are theoretical speeds, and I only use it so that you can understand that there are many factors that affect your drive speed. And even though you got the fastest drive, it doesn't mean it's going to be anywhere near that fast unless you pay special attention to all the factors that can contribute to a slower speed than what's expected of the external hard drive itself. That was a lot. That was a mouthful, but we got it, right? I got a simple solution for you right here, okay? Well, at least for the cables and your computer in that case. And you know what it is? It's just to go get a Thunderbolt. Get a Thunderbolt cable, get a Thunderbolt computer. No worries, you're all done. Just make sure that the port is Thunderbolt, make sure the cable's Thunderbolt, and you're good to go. How expensive can that be anyway, right? Just throw away your old computer and go get a new one with Thunderbolt. That was sarcasm, by the way. That was a lot to take in, wasn't it? Yeah, I know, and I understand that this is just the tip of the iceberg, and hopefully you understand that too. And if you want to know more, feel free to go out and check the many thousands of other YouTubers that are way smarter than me and get more precise information on the subjects we're discussing here. Feel free to hit me up in the comments, let me know your thoughts. I'm game, I'll try to answer what you got. So with that, I really do thank you for your time. I do wish you luck on your projects if that's the reason why you came here, and I hope you knock it out of the block. Peace.